The story unfolds in Verona, where two rival prominent families hold influence. The House of Capulet, Juliet's lineage, and the Montague family, home to the male lead, form the backdrop. It all begins with a violent street conflict sparked by the age-old feud between the Montagues and Capulet. The Capulets and Montagues are rival business tycoons, embodying the deep-seated hatred of their elder generation, Fulgencio and Gloria Capulet, and Ted and Caroline Montague. Their bitter hate is also rooted in the younger family members. A fight erupts at a gas station between the Montagues, led by Benvolio, Romeo's cousin, and the Capulets, led by Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, throwing the city into chaos. The two gangs use guns and weapons, threatening the lives of other civilians. This fight marks the third civil disturbance, provoking Captain Prince, the chief of police, to warn the families. He gives notice to them that any future such incidents will come at the cost of their lives, as they will pay the forfeit of the peace. While Benvolio and the other men of the family trigger fights and spread hatred, Romeo spreads love. He writes poetry and intends to end the chaos in the city. He always asks his cousin to leave the way of hate and promote peace. In Verona City, Dave Paris, the most eligible bachelor from the ruling house, expresses his wish to marry Juliet of the Capulet family, who is still very young. He talks to her father for her hand in marriage. Meanwhile, after the street fight, Benvolio and Romeo go to the pool hall and compete in a game of pool. Benvolio asks Romeo about his love interest, who reveals his affection for Rosaline, one of Lord Capulet's nieces. However, he feels depressed as he can't be with Rosaline since she has joined a convent. The TV channel reports news of an upcoming feast at the Capulet mansion. When the reporter mentions that Rosaline, Romeo's love interest, will be attending the event, Romeo and Benvolio decide to crash the party. On the other hand, Juliet's mother Gloria is hell-bent on making her daughter look pretty for the event since the most wanted bachelor Paris is going to be there. She tries convincing Juliet to get together with Paris, who has a good background and is handsome too. At the Sycamore Grove, both Romeo and Benvolio meet with their friend Mercutio, who has tickets to the event. Mercutio gives Romeo some drugs to go through the night. Juliet dresses up as a pure white angel, while Romeo dresses as a knight in shining armor. At the party, Romeo is deeply affected by the pill's influence, feeling both euphoric and overwhelmed. He hurriedly heads to the bathroom, where his eyes are captivated by a stunning aquarium. While admiring, he sees Juliet standing on the opposite side of the aquarium. As he gazes upon her, Romeo falls head over heels for her. He follows her discreetly throughout the party, and to his delight, she catches feelings too. However, Tybalt notices Romeo's presence and vows to seek revenge for his intrusion into their family's home. During the feast, Romeo and Juliet share a passionate kiss. However, they soon learn the truth that they belong to feuding families. This revelation shatters them, though they remain deeply in love. When Romeo and his friends leave the party, Romeo runs back to the mansion and climbs the wall to the balcony of her house, where he takes a bold step and proposes to her. Juliet, equally enchanted, responds by telling him that if he sends word by the following day, they will be officially betrothed. The two exchange vows as Juliet gives Romeo her necklace as a gift to hold on to. The next morning, Romeo goes to talk to Father Lawrence, the priest of Verona's church, who has known Romeo for a long time. Romeo tells the priest about his love for Juliet, a Capulet girl. Father Lawrence is surprised and worried because Romeo's family and the Capulets are enemies. Still, he agrees to get them married, hoping it will end the long feud between the families. While Romeo plans his secret wedding, Benvolio and Mercutio search for him. Tybalt has challenged Romeo to a duel because of their clash at a party. Mercutio is concerned for Romeo's safety, but when Romeo arrives, he seems happy and not depressed anymore. The group jokes around about Romeo's love life when Juliet's nurse arrives to ask Romeo about his intentions. He assures her he wants to marry Juliet, not just take advantage of her. Juliet eagerly waits for news from the nurse. Nurse tells Juliet that Romeo is eager to marry her. They have a small wedding that day, with no family guests, only a few witnesses. They pledge their love and become husband and wife. While they celebrate, their families start fighting again. Tybalt arrives at the beach, where the Montagues group rests. He pushes Mercutio into an argument that almost turns violent. Romeo arrives to stop the fight, but Tybalt challenges him to a duel. Romeo refuses to fight because he now respects Tybalt and doesn't want to hurt him. Mercutio, angry at Romeo's submission, fights Tybalt instead. Romeo tries to intervene, but Tybalt wounds Mercutio, who realizes he's going to die. Mercutio realizes that he is going to die in a battle that he was never a part of. As he curses both families, he dies in Romeo's arms. This tragedy fills Romeo with hatred, and for the first time, he understands the lifelong feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. In the heat of anger, Romeo sets off after Tybalt, with Benvolio trying to stop him. Benvolio knows that taking someone's life would harm Romeo's sensitive side, but Romeo is too furious to think about his beloved Juliet, brimming with revenge. Meanwhile, Juliet is at home, dreaming of Romeo and wishing to consummate their marriage. Romeo follows Tybalt in his car and catches up with him when an accident occurs. Tybalt is badly hurt, but manages to leave his car and grab his gun. Tybalt points the gun at Romeo, but instead of being scared, Romeo encourages him to do it, feeling they both need to pay for innocent Mercutio's death. Seeing Romeo's passion, Tybalt drops the gun and gives up, regretting his actions. He tries to run, but unfortunately, Romeo isn't in a forgiving mood as he shoots Tybalt in the middle of the street without caring who sees. However, the guilt trip hits when Romeo sees Tybalt's lifeless body fall into the water, realizing there's no going back from this act. Benvolio helps Romeo escape just before the Capulet and Montague families arrive. Gloria, Tybalt's aunt, is devastated, and police chief Captain Prince questions Benvolio. He learns about Mercutio's death and Romeo's revenge killing. Ted Montague tries to plead for Romeo, but the crime is clear and Romeo must pay. Captain Prince announces the banishment of Romeo from Verona. Romeo seeks refuge in the church, where Father Lawrence comforts him. Juliet isn't angry with him, only sad. She sends her wedding ring through the nurse to give Romeo hope for their future. Romeo's sadness lifts when he knows Juliet is waiting for him. Father Lawrence advises him to comfort her, but not stay too long because of the guards. In Juliet's room, they reunite and consummate their marriage, while Juliet's father discusses her marriage to Paris, unaware of her secret wedding to Romeo. The next morning, Romeo wakes up with a nightmare and feels guilty about what he did. He plans to leave, but Juliet wants him to stay, and they make promises to each other. The nurse barges into the room and informs them that Gloria is on her way, so Romeo must go. They promise to see each other again and have hope for their future. As Gloria enters the room, Romeo jumps from the balcony into a pool, and Juliet watches in horror, feeling a bad omen and fearing the worst. Gloria tells Juliet that her wedding has been arranged with Paris, but Juliet is upset because she doesn't love the person she's supposed to marry. She refuses, and when her father finds out, he's not happy. He thinks Juliet is spoiled and insists she marries Paris. Juliet tries to explain, but her father won't listen. He gets violent with her and threatens to disown her if she doesn't marry Paris. Juliet turns to her mother for help, but her mother turns her back. The only person who supports Juliet is the nurse. She advises Juliet to accept the marriage proposal because Paris is a good man and it will save Romeo from trouble. Juliet agrees and goes to Father Lawrence for help. Father Lawrence is already talking to Paris about the wedding when Juliet arrives. Paris calls her his wife, which upsets Juliet. Juliet tells Father Lawrence her problem, and he suggests a dangerous plan. He'll give her medicine that makes her appear dead. When everyone thinks she's dead, she can escape with Romeo. Juliet agrees. The next day, Juliet takes the medicine and goes to sleep. She's declared dead, and Romeo's friend informs him. Romeo is devastated and rushes to Juliet's side. He believes she's truly gone, so he buys poison to join her in death. Romeo goes to the church where Juliet lies. He's about to take the poison when Juliet wakes up. She sees the poison and kisses Romeo, hoping it will take her away too. Romeo dies, and Juliet, seeing no other option, takes his gun and ends her life as well. Both families suffer, and the town mourns the tragic love story. The love between Romeo and Juliet will always be remembered, but their families learn a harsh lesson about the consequences of their feud. Romeo and Juliet, released in 1996, directed by Bus Luhrmann, produced on a budget of approximately $14.5 million. The two main actors had a strong off-screen bond, which translated well on screen. Their chemistry is often cited as one of the film's strengths. Baz Luhrmann's distinctive style is evident throughout, from the vibrant and frenetic party scenes to the dramatic use of music. For instance, the song Young Hearts Run Free by Kim Mazel during the Capulet party adds a modern touch to the tale. The film received mixed reviews upon its release. Some praised its boldness and the performances of the lead actors, while others felt the modern setting clashed with Shakespeare's dialogue. Despite this, it has since been appreciated as a unique and influential adaptation of the classic tale. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications and leave a like to help the channel out.